told the World Health Organization, as the chief supplier of viruses for influenza and influenza vaccines, and the chief tester for the World Health Organization of blood that have of people who have been vaccinated with H1N1 vaccines, that the deal in America is far better to advance this agenda. He also said, this is James Robertson and Dr. John Wood, who are partners in the world's leading experts in this field, and that they stated clearly that they would prime the populations with H1N1 or whatever pandemic flu was coming. They would prime them in advance, and so that's what we are looking at with the Mexican flu outbreak and the H1N1 that circulated. It was a laboratory-sourced virus, and that's not unusual in history. In 1977, the swine flu that broke out, and then also that was 1 year after the mysterious, probably military experiment at Fort Dix, which again led to the initial swine flu fright and the hideous Guillain-Barré disease-inducing vaccination campaign back in 76. That was a laboratory-sourced virus. Says who? Says the New England Journal of Medicine a couple weeks ago. So you've got to really take a clear look at who's pulling the strings between Rockefeller and the royalty of Europe.
And I want to spend more time on this because you said this 3 months ago on the show. It's since come out in UN documents we covered last week where they said so that people get better immunity when we give them the vaccine, we'll release these simulant viruses into the population. What does that mean?
It means that they have genetically engineered viruses, such as what we've talked about, a combination of swine flu from 1918. It was the Spanish flu from 1918 with a swine flu with a genetic sequence of the avian flu from Asia.
But they just calmly announce, like it's no big deal on the WHO's own website, the UN, that they're releasing this stuff.
Yes, and that was made clear additionally in a recent World Health Organization release, a press release, to gain publicity to help allegedly ensure people that these vaccines are safe. They actually said the same thing. That they're releasing new mock-up files, they call it. See, they don't even call them viruses anymore. They don't want people to be alarmed, so they call them new names. The new terminology for viruses, laboratory mutated, hybridized combinations, recombinants, are mock-up files, biosimilars. These are the types of words that they're using that basically keeps people ignorant about what they're really doing. And they just do it right out in the open, so if they ever get caught, they say, yeah, we admitted we did. It's like Silverstein says, yeah, we pulled Building 7, gave the order, and watched the building come down, and then no one's supposed to discuss it. Stay there, Dr. Horowitz. Let's continue.
The New World Order beast is genetically modifying your food, mixing vegetables with animals, and now experimenting with viruses. Without a long-term food solution, you will have just two options: starve, or surrender. All canned food supplies will eventually run out. What then? Grow your own healthy food and feed your family forever. SurvivalistSeeds.com is now the nation's largest bulk heirloom seed company, and it's owned by a real patriot, Big John Lipscomb. You can now have an infinite amount of healthy vegetables like a watermelon, a bundle of carrots, or tomatoes for a little more than a penny each. SurvivalistSeeds.com. And now you can go into business with Big John at SurvivalistSeeds.com by becoming an affiliate. See his link at SurvivalistSeeds.com.
I'm going to clear the phone board. I apologize to those that were holding from earlier. You can call back in, go to the front of the line when we clear the board again later. I want to clear the board for 5 questions, 5 callers for Dr. Len Horowitz. 1-800-259-9231, 1-800-259-9231. Only on the flu. That's coming up in about 10 minutes. And we're having backup throughout the week. We got Dr. Blaylock coming on, Dr. Tenpenny coming back on, Steve Quayle coming back on. We're going to be covering this intensely as the attempts at forced inoculations begin. And so Dr. Horowitz is just touching on key points here, key points there. Go to fluscam.com. We have it also mirrored up at Infowars.com, the PDF and links to his site. Go read the entire close to 50-page affidavit for yourself if you care about your family. Look at the points he's making, because they began the fear-mongering in January. We had emergency managers and journalists on saying the government's getting ready for mass graves, martial law in the fall for flu. And we said, folks, we've never seen so much military personnel being put in place. I believe they wanted to use this in the fall to pass their healthcare agenda, their eugenics agenda, their banking agenda, and to use it as a political cover. Then in April, we learned it was really at a level 6 when the first scare started. I got secret documents from the state of Texas, posted those. Months later, it was confirmed I was right. Dr. Horowitz separately confirmed they were going to level 6 in May, early May. That was later confirmed 2 months later. And so what we know is when we see them line up, prepare, get ready, already start the vaccine lines of these genetically engineered cloned viruses and virus hybrids, that's the telltale sign. Just like when Dr. Horowitz saw congressional studies of mailing weaponized anthrax through the mail 2 years before 9/11, he started saying they're going to launch an anthrax attack. Because once you study, big operations have to be prepared. And even if they're secret, the physical manifestation, the buildup of the petrochemical, pharmacological, military-industrial complex system is manifest in front of you. And if you're watching it, you can see it. Dr. Horowitz, continuing, sir.
Well, you got to look at the companies that are involved here. All of the 6 companies that are producing the vaccinations have intimate connections to the principals, the chief suspects, the chief genocidalists, Rockefeller. You're looking at Zuckerman. You're looking at, as I mentioned before, the connections to the royalty of Europe. You're looking at Michael Greenberg, who is the clinical research developer for vaccines at CSL Corporation. The people also, he was with SmithKline Beecham. These are the organizations that are advancing now the research with Rupert Murdoch's organization in Australia and advancing these vaccinations that so sadly contain these not just mutated viral live viruses, man-made laboratory creations, but the poisons, the squalene, there's the products that are being produced by CSL, it's called MF59. Another little piece of incredible information is that America's chief AIDS czar, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the director of the National Institute for Allergies and Infectious Diseases, that's your premier infectious disease organization in the United States, Dr. Fauci has been the principal promoter of people getting the flu vaccines. He is intimately connected with these organizations. He's on the take profiteering. He's got a co-patent. He's a co-patent holder on the ingredient interleukin-2, IL-2, within the MF59 adjuvant. It is, again, links to AIDS, to HIV. Stunning, another stunning revelation. Baxter Corporation actually is producing their vaccine, not in chicken eggs. They're using African green monkey. Baxter is one of the most hideously untrustworthy biotech companies and vaccine manufacturers in the world. Why the European governments have primarily used Baxter for their vaccines is absolutely malfeasant. It is
and expanding,
criminal.
Dr. Tenpenny says that some of this flu vaccine is being grown on dead baby retinas.
That may be. I don't have that document to say that, but I definitely have the document that shows that they're using Vero cells. In fact, I did an interview following a Baxter representative in Spain yesterday, and that they admitted using Vero cells, which is the African green monkey, that Dr. Hilleman on the Internet, I posted a YouTube segment where Dr. Maurice Hilleman from the Merck Pharmaceutical Company, and that company is hideously implicated also in this global scam. Well,
let me stop you. I've got a lot of nexus points I want to throw at you here.
Sure.
It's clear we're going to have to do more interviews in the next 2 days. This is so big. Baxter separately mixed the weaponized bird flu, quote, by accident at 14 different labs in Europe. There was then, the London Telegraph reported, a secret company. They've indicted all the government officials that were involved in Poland. A large percentage of the homeless they gave it to, saying it was a regular flu vaccine and paid them to take it, died. That's London Telegraph. But when I talked to you last time, you're saying you don't believe it's Baxter that did that. It was another company. I mean, this just goes on and on. Then we have Gardasil, and now they're having to admit what you said 3 years ago, that in the trials it was killing young girls that took it. And on top of that, Bild.de, the biggest newspaper in Germany, is reporting with top scientists in an article titled, "Does Virus Vaccine Increase the Risk of Cancer?" And it has top scientists in Germany, virologists, saying that it has live cancer viruses in it because it was grown in monkeys.
Exactly right. And Baxter is heavily implicated. The company that I was referring to in the United States issue was Novavax.